Ladies and gentlemen, it is the final round here of the Octane Online Racing, rather the Simrigs Sprint Series North American season. And what a season it has been. We're down in Kyalami, a fan favorite, especially a favorite of mine. Hello everybody, my name is Nick Amon, and I want to welcome you to tonight's broadcast. Got a super sprint on the way. It's going to be 2 races here tonight, a 20-minute sprint race followed by a 40-minute race after that. So very common stuff if we're talking, you know, the pub scene. A lot of 20-minute races there. But we started the season with a super sprint. We're going to end it the exact same way. So we do still have some competition here in terms of points. Just right off the bat, the pro scene is actually done and dusted. All pro drivers are pretty much done for the season. Gulzar, of course, winning at 779 points. To put that in perspective, Skylar Loverink, also a pro-rated driver, has 521 points. That is a difference of 136. It's actually, no, it's more than that. It's 258. I have my numbers wrong because I'm looking at the wrong page. So Loverink is going to be unable to get P1 overall in the pro category. Behind him is Flomger, third overall and third position in pro, 499. So that is still up for grabs. 30 points about is the difference, so we'll see just what happens there. The battle for Pro-Am is pretty much still up in the air for first. Davis is in third in Pro-Am with 338 points. Fernandez ahead of everybody in Pro-Am, 453. Jonathan Clifford, though, 29 points back, 424. So there is a chance that the Lamborghini driver is able to get it all done and dusted. If we actually look at the practice times, Clifford just about a quarter of a tenth ahead right now. He has a blisteringly fast time of a 1:41.595. Fernandez a 41.62. So that's going to be something that we are going to be keeping a close eye on. There is a possibility that Davis does get removed. Below him is Keith Briscoe, 337 points. Briscoe is here. Davis is as well, but Davis is still quite ahead of Briscoe here in free practice. The Australian, a 42.08 for him, so a very solid time. Briscoe, a 42.59, so he's got a little bit of ground to make up, although Davis is not going to let this one slip. Amateur class, Mahoney is in third right now. He's got 60 points. Parity is in the lead with 110. Wicks is behind with 74. It's going to be a bit of a long shot to see if Wicks can overcome that 36-point gap, especially right now. Parity hasn't set a time yet. He's really been struggling to find traction here. Wicks in P18 at the moment, a 42.82 for him. So we'll, again, keep an eye on all these battles as things develop. And one thing we should be talking about with this Super Sprint format is it has been a little bit. So normally you're looking at one race and you're getting a bunch of points. But with this, we have to split everything up. So instead of getting 150 points for first, you're getting 75. And then it goes 60, 50, 40. That's 2, 3, and 4. And then 5, you get 37. 6th is 34. 7th is 31, and then we start dipping into the 20s, and it isn't until you get from P11 all the way down to 30 that it starts going down by 1, starting at 20 and ending at 1, and then anything beyond 30, you get absolutely nothing. But we haven't had that many drivers on the grid this season. We've had, I think, 28, 29 as a max, but other than that, we haven't really had any drivers getting 0 points. You also will be getting points based off your quality position in the top 5. So first gets 5, second gets 4, third gets 3, fourth gets 2, and fifth gets 1 point. And then, of course, you get 3 extra points for fastest lap. I've got everything written out, so we're going to be keeping an eye on all of that. And as we get to the end of free practice, of course, got to give a quick shout out to Simrigs for sponsoring Season 11 of the Octane Online Racing Sprint Series. If you're down in Australia or New Zealand, they've got you covered. Some of the best sim racing equipment you can get if you're an OR Patreon member. Of course, you get 5% off all of your in-store purchases, and if you're like me and you live outside of that little bit of islandry, well, you can send them an email and they'd be more than happy to work something out with you. So again, thank you to Simrigs for sponsoring Season 11, and of course we hope to see them again next season. Now, what I really want to do is, with all of these liveries that have come in, we've had some beautiful liveries this season, and one of them, as Glenn has pointed out, also welcome to everybody into the broadcast. Hopefully you're all having a wonderful day. Things were a little crazy. We didn't get to the EU broadcast. Again, stream key got reset. It's never fun. The Simrig safety car out on track. But one driver we have to look at is Hamza Gulzar. Now, if you look at it, it's a very nice pink livery, very stylish. But if you look at the name, it says, "I love you, Nick." And Hamza, I love you too, man. You know, he's always telling me how much he loves listening to me say all these great things about him, and it's very well deserved. He's top of the field by over 200 points, so it's 100% deserved. We may hear from him later on, along with the other drivers, some of them at least. And another car I want to look at actually is Skylar Lovering's car. You notice a cat on the side. So this livery, it's sort of a sad tale. His cat Marshmallow recently passed away. I believe it was, I think it might have been a cancer or tumor or something like that. But he was supposed to have this livery a couple weeks ago, and because of, you know, the way Kunos does custom liveries and all things, it didn't go through, and then we tried it again last week, and the same thing happened. But thankfully, we have it rocking this week, so this is in memory, of course, of Marshmallow, who, well, it looked like Lovering did a very good job here at Kyalami, definitely getting his practice in. But yeah, we've had some very good liveries this season. Another one that I have been a huge fan of is this car right here, Sam Raworth in the Scuderia Forterari. I'm sure Mr. Enzo, spinning in his grave, probably could use that to crank the car, honestly. Still very well-made livery. And Kevin Parody, there he is, with his thing. The tortoise livery, certainly has been using the tortoise and hare story to his advantage, as he does lead the amateur class. There was another couple of cars. Eduardo Sanchez here with the Weeb machine, as I've called it. Not sure what anime that's from, but we go for it. Of course, goals are in Love Rank. Brian Rasco, very classic Bentley livery. I'm a huge fan of the color scheme. Steve Davis, a very good BMW. Landry, like the Skechers almost, if you want to call it that. Quasar Sim Racing, of course, but it looks like a Skechers shoe. Come on, you can't tell me it doesn't. And then there's one more, Jonathan Clifford, a driver whose livery I've been in love with this whole season. Austin Carpenter, solid pink. Darren Wicks actually coming out here with a very cool looking Porsche livery. Bit different. I like the sort of tribal art it looks like. Got the flame shooting out the back to make a wolf, so clearly going to be on top of his game. Wicks could possibly take the amateur class title should Parody have a couple of mishaps. We saw Parody struggle in the practice session to really get a good time in, but now it's not really a huge problem. So right now Clifford and Pierce are setting the laps at the moment, so we'll see what the pace is looking like. Clifford, of course, wants to dethrone Fernandez in this race on that first position. This is a driver who I have been impressed with week after week, especially looking at where he started and where he is now. It's been an incredible journey from him, from an amateur class driver who really seemed to struggle taming the bull to now being one of the top drivers in NA, especially in the Pro-Am class. For him, it's been a wild ride, and I'm very happy I've been a part of it. And I'm hopefully you guys have also been pretty happy with it. Now, one thing we have had a bit of an update on in terms of driver license points. We have a point system like any self-respecting league does to keep these drivers in line. I believe we have one qualifying ban. I think that's unless that was for EU. No, we did have someone with a quali ban. And that would go for both qualifications, not just the one, because that would be kind of silly. I'll see if I can find it. I'm not certain if it's still around. It may have been pushed quite a ways back in the Sprint chat rooms, as everybody is talking about everything and everybody. But yeah, we had that. We had one in EU. Fabian Schopp had a race ban, so he was not going to be able to participate, unfortunately. Here we go. So quali ban actually coming in for car number 11, who isn't here. Car number 11, of course, being, if I can look through the list, Nate Lamelin hasn't marked attendance, has not showed up to the server yet. So for him, it's just a night that he is going to want to forget about. He's sitting 305 points. Just outside the top 10. P11 at the moment, so he'll probably get swapped around as things go on. Right now, though, Jonathan Steele picking up the fastest lap in the Arizona livery that I still am a huge fan of. I think that's a very well done livery. I know him and Skylar Lovering were running it together as a team, but of course, as things go, Lovering changed it up a little bit, but Bricks Racing is their team. Beautiful stuff. 41.50 is the time to beat. Pierce just behind, finishing another lap here is a 41.7. He's 3/10 up, so this would put him into provisional pole position. And as he crosses the line, he does, and behind him, Jonathan Clifford, it looks like, jumps up to P3, 41.9. So only 3 drivers so far are in that 41 range. Timothy Flomger is going to join that 3/10 out of the final corner here, so this should put him above Jonathan Clifford, albeit just a full 10th ahead. So P3 for the Mercedes driver. Hamza Galzar down in P6 right now, actually, as Landry overtakes. And then behind him, Brian Rasco in P7, Dag, Carpenter, Davis rounding out that top 10, Wilson, Brown, Fernandez, Briscoe, Frizza, Lutkus, Raworth, Parody, Wicks, Thompson, the next 10 down, and then it goes Hasser, Sanchez, Loverink, and Tim Brook, who I think has just joined us here. So we'll see what that goes for. And then, of course, the Simrigs safety car, doing what it does best, is sitting there and looking pretty. Hamza Gulzar, speaking of looking pretty, that is a pretty good improvement, up 41.89, so he is going to join the 41 club. It's populated 7 members. Loverink on top with a 41 dead. A 41 minute 41 to the dot. That is an impressive time. He has really been practicing this circuit. We're actually going to go and pick him up as he starts his next lap. We'll see who's on an improvement. Keith Briscoe, P17 for the Pro-Am driver. Briscoe, 337 points. Again, still in a fight with Davis for P3 in the Pro-Am Championship, although Davis does have the edge by about a 10th. As Briscoe crosses the line, a 42.62 is going to be his improvement for right now. Spencer Brown, number 12 for Audi, P19, goes right up to P13 with that 42.47. He is probably just getting warmed up. We'll get a few more laps here as this qualifying comes to a close. The track fast at the moment. Not quite optimum, but we are going to be working with it. Skylar Lovering closing in on the end of his lap, so we'll pick him up shortly. Wilson Fernandez, number 8 in car number 88, is sitting with a 42.18. Very solid time for him so far. And it looks like he lost a couple of tenths, so Cheetah is going to be the place where I believe we will see a lot of carnage. For those of you that have not raced at Kyalami, the penultimate corner here has a massive sausage curb on the inside, and you really have to get as close as you can to it to get the best time. And what ends up happening is a lot of drivers will cut it just a little too close to the inside, and well, Cheetah's going to be hungry, and she is going to feast. It's happened to me. I was running some races earlier today on my own, and well, wouldn't you know it, I got a little too close to Cheetah twice and spun out both times. Very frustrating when you get it, especially when you're on such a great lap. We carry on, a minute and a half to go here in qualifying. We'll see who's closing in on a lap, and that appears to be Austin Carpenter. He's just about even with himself. Down in P11 is 42.365 is the best he's got right at the moment. Eduardo Sanchez up into P9 here. That's 42.23. So good improvement from him. Thomas Pierce sort of blipping in and out of the improvement range. Sam Raworth as well. Kind of just gaining and losing a little bit. He's 3/10 up though. This improvement would not put him ahead of Wilson, and it won't as he comes to a stop at the final corner. And for 3:39, that is going to be it for his qualifying. He's not going to get another shot. We still have 7 cars in the top, or in that 41 range. The next driver down, a 42.18 for Wilson Fernandez, who has ended his qualifying session. Unfortunately, Tim Brooks out on track on an improvement, a little bit at a time. We are, although... Oh, is Lover going to get back to the line? He's going to just push it to get to the end. I think he should be able to. The acceleration here for the Ferrari, of course, one of its Strong suits. He's not going to have time, though. Checkered flag is going to come out, so love rank. A 40.9, so he does go down into the 41s. Just barely, or into the 40. The only driver here to actually do that. That is huge. Thomas Pierce right now, even with himself. A 30, or 41.33 for him. Is he going to be able to improve, though? That is the question. Crosses the line. No, he will not. He's going to miss out. Couple of, or about a 10th or so off, so his qualifying is done. Steele, Landry, Gulls are as well in the pits. They are done and dusted. Well, who else is out on track? Everyone's pretty much done. The only driver out, Braden Thompson, and behind him is, I believe that's Dag. No, Dag's just coming down mine shaft right now. So let's see if Braden Thompson improves. P19 right now, 42.79 for him out of the final corner. We are going to see if he's gotten improved. It's a little bit. Pulls it to the side, and it doesn't look like he is going to be as fortunate. Timothy Flomger, P6 at the moment. Bit of an improvement, but it's not going to be enough to actually do anything. Cross the line, stays P6. Behind him, Brian Rasco crossing the line, P11 for him. Thomas Dag here, just about half a second. So this could put him into the 41s. That would be a massive improvement. And it's enough for P10, a 42.05. He is just barely going to miss out. And Sanchez actually getting into the 48s. So 8 drivers up in that, up into those 41s. Or sorry, 7 into the 41s. And then, of course, we have 1 driver in the 40s. That's Skylar Lovering. So we're going to take a nice stroll here through pit lane, as we always do. And to answer your question, BG, my favorite track in this game, well, obviously Spa. I'm one of those people. But other than Spa, Bathurst and Watkins Glen have my heart. They are such amazingly fun tracks. Kyalami, though, definitely one of my favorites. So I'll extend the question to you guys. Favorite tracks, what do you got working with it? Anything good? Anybody like Monza, unironically? I like it, but I don't want to race on it. We're going to take a nice stroll here through pit lane. Of course, Skylar Loverank on pole. Marshmallow from across the Rainbow Bridge, able to find the 42nd for him. And then it's Pierce joining him on that front row. Steele and Landry, 3 and 4. Hamza Gulzar down P5, rocking a different BMW than he normally does. And then Flomger will join him on that 3rd row. Clifford and Sanchez. Clifford, again, looking to overtake Fernandez for the top spot in Pro-Am. And then Brooke and Dag at 9 and 10. Wilson Fernandez here in P11 as we just passed by the purple BMW here on the right. So he's going to be looking to gain as many points as he can in both of these races. Joining him, of course, Brian Rasco in the Soul Bentley. Steve Davis joining us, of course, from Australia. It's always love to see it. Austin Carpenter keeps him company on that 7th row. Behind them, Tadas Lutkis, 15, and Spencer Brown in 16. We'll see what those two do down into turn at number 1. Frizza and Briscoe, 17 or 18 and 17. Braden Thompson, Darren Wicks here, down 19 and 20. And then it's Wilson and Raworth. And then behind them, rounding out the field, Kevin Parody, Dave Hasser in the, of course, the Sid Nudes BMW livery. And then we can never forget about the lovely, delicately, perfectly crafted Simrigs safety car, of course, rocking it in the Chevy. What else would you do? I hope to see more of this car soon enough later on in the seasons. Of course, season 12 coming up soon. I believe registrations are going to open after the weekend break, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. We'll definitely put an announcement out for that. If you are in the rookie series and you're looking to graduate on up to the sprint series, I'd highly suggest it. Application very easy to fill out. You just go onto the website, go to the ACC category, go to Sprint Series, and then look for Season 12, and there is going to be an option there, ideally when that page is fully up and running. To register, just got to fill out the form, very easy instructions, and it is definitely going to be quite a wild ride in my opinion. There's going to be a lot of competition, a lot of hectic moments, as we've seen all season long, and we are going to be seeing more of that, of course, as the safety car peels away Drivers will follow suit. Gotta say, I know it sounds a little ironic, but the Sprint Series, a little bit more hectic than the Rookie Series. And as these cars get around the field, of course, one more quick shout out to Simrigs for sponsoring Season 11 of the OOR Sprint Series. If you're looking to upgrade, they've got you covered. Everything you're ever going to need for your rig. And wouldn't you know it, we got a 5% discount for all of our OOR Patreon members if you're looking to save a little bit of money here on these sim racing equipment. Well, definitely use it. Savings are always a good thing. Australia, New Zealand, you're always going to be covered. NA, EU, Africa, Asia, at least the northern parts of Asia, away from Australia. Actually, another Oceania, but Asia and South America. Send them an email, get you covered. Simrigs, thank you again, as always. But ladies and gentlemen, we are just getting around the track right now. Safety car still leading these cars around for the parade lap. So we have a 20-minute race coming in here. A fast track, so not quite optimum. Not yet. Flash the headlights. Yes, hello, safety car. You're very beautiful. We love you. But yeah, 20 minutes. So what's going to happen here at the end, the top 12 are going to get reverse grid. So if you finish first, you're starting 12th, second is 11th, third is 10th, so on and so forth until you get back to position number 12. What then is going to happen is everybody 13th and below is going to go out and do their qualifying laps. And then if you want to figure out where your favorite driver is going to be, if they happen to be in that bottom 13, just add 12 onto their position. Bada bing, bada boom, you've got yourself covered. And that will cause a little bit of chaos. But right now, the safety car pulling away as we get into Crocodiles here. Crocodiles, heavy braking zone into the right. We could see a lot of overtakes there down the inside. It's such a wide corner to go through. And then right here through Cheetah, you do see that sausage curve on the left side. That is extremely dangerous, but that is going to be the racing line. So it depends on how much you want to risk. But ladies and gentlemen, around the final corner we go here at Kyalami. 20 minutes on the clock. This is going to set us up for a 40-minute race just after it. Drivers trying to catch up, closing these gaps. Loverink on pole, Pierce joining him on that front row. Behind them, it is Steele and Landry, some pretty quick cars. And it's green, 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 and Pierce does not get the best start. Loverink already pulling away here. Down to turn number 1, it's going to be Flomger joining Gulzar here in this 3-wide battle down into turn number 1. A very heavy braking zone. It's going to be crucial to get this just right. In the background, we see a lot of 3-wide, even a little bit of 4-wide for a moment as these drivers navigate this first corner into turns 2 and 3. Loverink just getting away beautifully here in the background. Sanchez having to deal with Clifford on his inside. Brooke as well with a little bit of melee there in the background. It's been a very clean start, but now we head down into the S's. This is where things are going to get, down to Mineshaft. Or Sunset, man, my corners all mixed up. Running on board here, Flomger, P4 right now. You can see Loverink just ahead. There's Frizza getting an amazing start. And then just ahead of that, it's Landry in P4 or P3. Oh, no, there's Frizza. Frizza and then Landry. So P5 here for Flomger. These S's, though, crucial to get just right. Easy to spin out if you're not really paying attention. Getting a little too eager into these corners. Now we go down Mineshaft. Flomger in P5 at the moment. There's Hamza Gulzar, your Pro Series, or your Pro Class champion and overall champion. What a season he's had, absolutely thrashing the competition. And we head down into Crocodiles. Loverink, despite a very good start, has really struggled to shake Pierce. Pierce, who just completely was asleep there at the start, has already pulled back. There is Steele getting onto the grass, almost going off, but able to keep things neat and tidy in that last corner. Well, I don't know if it'd be 100% perfect, but definitely one that I am a huge fan of. It looks like everybody is getting through Cheetah just fine. We haven't had any sort of problems. So at the end of lap 1, it's Loverink, Pierce, Steele, Landry, Flomger, your top 5. Gulzar, Sanchez, Clifford, Rasco, and Brooke, the next 5 down. Everyone else getting sorted out. And we see Thomas Dag right now having to deal with Tim Brooke. Actually gets around him. The headlights getting flashed there from the BMW. Probably not too pleased about that pass. No rubbing his racing depending on where you go. But in the OR, some people would say that isn't so. I'm not going to give my opinion about it. I'm just a voice in a box here. Thomas Dag down into Sunset. Brooke know it's a 20-minute race, and we talk about, you know, biding your time, but in these first super sprint rounds, you don't really have a choice. You have to go for it if you want a good qualifying position, of course. Should things stay the way they are right now, Dagwood's be starting P3, Brooke is in P2, Carpenter P1, with that reverse grid coming into effect. And of course, anything can happen. No mandatory pit stops, of course. Why would you pit in a 20-minute race? Who knows? Hopping back in the field right now, Darren Wicks has Chris Frizza all over his rear wing as we get ready to go down into Mineshaft. Just beyond them, Hasser, Wilson, and I'd even throw Briscoe into the mix. Why not? Or sorry, not Briscoe. I think is that Lutkiss, who somehow is pushing through the field. The pro driver way down the grid right now. Yeah, there's Dave Hasser having to deal with Wilson. Looks like he's really just going to cover off the inside line. Doesn't want to give any sort of opportunity. Back up here, a very tight-knit group. Oh, there's a massive bit of oversteer from Fernandez. Able to catch that and stay on the tail end of Spencer. The battle for P14 starting to heat up a little bit. You can see there's the long line of cars. We're going to try to look out the back here of Landry. You can see just how many cars. We're going to hop around, just try to give you sort of a sense of scale of just how big this grid is. You think 20, it doesn't seem that bad, especially when you're sort of in your own little world just running around. But here in the OR, it is nothing but action all the time. Darren Wicks pulling out a little bit of time here on Frizza, the amateur class driver, doing a very good job right now. He is running top of amateur. Kevin Parody down in 22nd. Wicks is going to have a lot to do, though, to overcome that 36-point deficit, though. That is a lot, especially when points are cut in half. Got to have two very good races and pray that your opponent has a really bad race. And right now, Darren Wicks rocking with that. Just Kevin Parody popping out of that corner just beyond the fold there. But things have settled down a little bit. Flomger trying to catch Landry while also keeping Gulzar at base. So we have two little groups of three, it looks like. Skylar Lovering pulling away from Pierce a good bit. Steele trying to maintain Michael Landry right now. I've seen that Mercedes sit in his rear view for quite a while. And maybe he'll be seeing more of it into the second qualifier. He's just running this car way too wide over Cheeto, but maybe a bit safer. And I think he overshoots his brake point a little bit. What does Flomger's exit look like? It appears to be about the same. Although with the slipstream, could go for a move down into turn number 1 here. It's a heavy braking zone. And he's going to choose the inside line, is about even on the brakes, really just throws it down the inside. The camera doing a great job of not catching the action. But Flomger gets ahead for a moment, fighting back, goes Landry. He has the inside line for one corner, but doesn't have it for the next. He just has to get in behind. And Gulzar doing a little bit of rallycross here around the outside, over on the grass just before sunset. And the sun does set for P5 Landry. So we'll see if there's enough rotation there in Landry's world to get the sun back up and get back into P5. Driver's really throwing all the punches out right now, keeping things nice and neat and exciting. Wilson, P19, Dave Hasser, Tadas Lutkiss just behind. Two BMWs chasing down this McLaren, and just ahead of him, look at that. It is more BMWs. It seems to be the car of choice here in NA. I haven't done any total counts. I think we're looking at maybe about 10 BMWs in total, all things considered. It is quite a lot. Jonathan Clifford has Eduardo Sanchez behind him. Has not been able to shake the Mexican in any way, shape, or form. A 42.52 is his last and his personal best. Sanchez, though, says, I'll do you one better. How's a 42.29 sound? And that was also his best lap. So Jonathan Clifford, man, really running it out wide. That's sort of the thing we see with Cheetah, is you want to run it as close as you can to that curb, but you don't want to run it so close that you end up tripping over Cat and getting chewed up and spit out. So the exit there also very crucial. Dave Hasser probably not getting the best line into Crocodiles, and that is going to move Lutkiss on up into P20. Dave Hasser, though, still not done. Check back up here. Jonathan Clifford, where is he? There he is. Gotta love how some of these cameras operate on some of these tracks. Absolutely lovely stuff. Chris Frizza, hold on. We've got some action here as we look just out the driver's side window, you do see just beside him, and actually behind him, I believe that's Keith Briscoe. Yes, it is. The number 74 Ferrari getting the move done there on the BMW, and just behind, Braden Thompson getting a piece of the pie there. So Briscoe, 2 positions in 2 corners. He's going to be looking to recover those as soon as he can. Skylar Lovering unable to shake Pierce. Pierce, of course, doing a phenomenal job here, just keeping the Ferrari driver in check, keeping him honest. Still closing in on halfway in this first race, so we'll see how much longer our number 52 friend here can keep things going through Cheetah. Always a clinch moment as you go through. No matter how many times you run it, you always feel like you're going to run it just a little bit incorrectly. Thomas Stagg holding on here. P10, Brooke and Carpenter behind him, and then just about ahead of him, Rasco starting to give Sanchez a little bit of heat, who has fallen off of Clifford. So for Clifford, this is very, very good for him. Anytime he can pull away from Sanchez is going to be time that he does not have to worry about later on. Things starting to settle down a little bit. Spencer Brown getting the move done on Kevin Parody down, either in Cheetah or the final corner, so he's going to get moved on up to P22. Parody down P23, really not doing a whole lot of good for his amateur class championship hopes. Darren Wicks running up in P15. If Wicks stays there, he is going to be getting 16 points. Parody, unfortunately, only going to take home 9, so it shrinks the gap, but it's going to take a lot for Wicks to really pull out the upset here. And we'll see what it looks like, especially with second qualifying. Mario Sanchez, yeah, he's really just bleeding time. You can see just how far ahead Clifford is compared to where he was a lap and a half ago. And then Rasco behind him in the big old Bentley, a car that I've thrown around this track before about 9 hours straight, is really just showing a lot of pace here. Right here in South Africa, the sea not too far away, so perhaps the Bentley, sensing the open ocean, deciding that if it wants to get there, it's got to finish this race. Keith Briscoe picking up the first penalty here tonight. We'll see if that has gone through. Yes, it has. We've had, so 501 Keith Briscoe, a collision. Oh boy, that is Brian Rasco showing us what can happen if you get Cheetah incorrectly. There goes Dag and Brooke taking those positions, just pouncing every opportunity. So a collision on lap 2 for Briscoe nets 5 seconds, and a collision on lap 2 for Kart 88 Wilson Fernandez, also going to be dealt with. Right now, door to door here, down to turn number 1. Rasco on the inside. Carpenter going to have to take the outside line here as Brown goes into the pits. Very surprising from the Audi driver. This battle, though, for P11 still going on. The inside line does belong to Carpenter. He goes over the inside curb, and that is going to spin Rasco right out. And he has to wait for just about everybody to come through here. And that is going to be devastating for the Bentley. He is going to tumble down the order by the time things get updated. Wilson Fernandez here, the battle for P11. Although if he does get past Davis, he's got to pull out 5 seconds somehow by the end of the race. That is going to be quite the feat. Unless something does happen. We're not going to say what, because, you know, I don't dabble in caster curse magic. Never have, never will. Darren Wicks just behind. Will give us a nice little view here of Thompson and Briscoe. Briscoe behind, of course, with that 5-second penalty, so he'll be losing 17 to at least Wilson and Lutkis by the time things get sorted out. And Brown disconnecting that Audi. Apparently back to the shop. Season is over and done with. Andrew Wilson, Tadas Lutkis just behind as we head down through Mineshaft. The Lithuanian here having to go around the outside of Crocodile. Does get it squared up nicely, heading up towards Cheetah, and it looks like Wilson is just going to back out of that one, let it go. Perhaps realizing Lutkis is faster than him. He decides that he's not going to hold him up. He's just going to let him race, let him do his thing. And from there, well, it's all eyes forward. Braden Thompson still with Briscoe behind. Looks to be some damage there on the on the back wing. Let's see if we can see any rear end damage as we look out of Briscoe's car. Yeah, there is. So it looks like these two may have had a little bit of a coming together earlier on. You see the hood of this BMW just propped up a little bit. It's shaking in the breeze. So there is some front end damage. You see it a lot right there. That's really going to affect the performance, especially down some of these straights. Just the less top end that Briscoe has to work with. Going to be pretty critical, I think. But he will be in the running for the second qualifying round. Still 7 minutes to go here at Kyalami in round number 1. Davis. So with Fernandez behind, he's able to keep him back quite a good way. Although it's a small gap, it's still a gap. Sky Loverink here picking up the best lap. And what if I told you that his best lap is currently one of the qualifying times that he put in of a 1:41 flat. This man is on a whole nother level. It is absolutely incredible how much work I think he's put in this season. It's been incredible watching him, especially as he sits right now P2 in the Pro Championship. Flomger behind, of course, down by about 30 points. So he's got some work to do. Thomas Pierce, overall, is P8 is 360 points. Behind him, Jonathan Steele is located a little bit lower than him, and by a little bit I mean quite a ways down. Steele has not been present for most of the season, unfortunately, so he'll take any sort of points that he can get. And we've got some 3 wide here. What is going on? Keith Briscoe battling with Thompson and Lutkis for BMW superiority down here. P16, Briscoe somehow gets ahead. Lutkis going to take the opportunity to go down the inside of Thompson and pick up another position. And that is going to bring Andrew Wilson into the picture as well. So this fight here, P16 not done yet. Lutkis maybe thinking around the outside here of Sunset as Thompson gets to gain a little bit of ground here. Lutkis will have this inside line following that downhill right. He's not going to be able to get as much of a drive out of the corner as Briscoe does on the inside again for the S's, but thinks better of it, slotting back in behind Thompson and Wilson. Despite the little battle going on, hasn't had too much success, and as I say that, Braden Thompson getting an amazing exit there out of the chicane. We're going to see if he's got it in him to make this move stick. Lutkis covering off the inside incredibly well. Does not give Thompson any room to work with. Wilson, of course, waiting in the shadows, waiting to see who makes a mistake. Braden Thompson right now we ride on board with through Crocodile. Similar cars, probably similar setups. Thought about a move down the inside, thinking better of it, having to stand on the brakes a little bit more to avoid contact. Does not want to spin out his fellow competitors. Wants to get the move done cleanly. These guys making Cheadle look more like a kitten there, just right on through, no problem. But I can tell you, it is one of the trickiest corners to get right, especially at speed, especially when you're trying to either catch somebody or build up a gap or set a really good qualifying lap. It is never easy in the slightest. And right now, Timothy Flomger having a nice, bright, pink BMW that states its love for one of our commentators, I wonder who, down through Sunset. And the inside line, Gulzar is going to lay claim, but the question is, does he get the move to stick? So we look out here on the outside of the car right there, and on the inside as we head down into the SS, Gulzar getting the move done. Flomger, looks like both of them got a little bit of oversteer and corrected. Flomger perhaps correcting a little bit sooner, and because of that, had to lay off the brake a little bit as he does the same, firing it down the inside. Hamza Gulzar just backing out of that one. A little bit of a switcheroo here. Is it going to work? It doesn't look like it. Down mineshaft we go. Gulzar is going to be having the slipstream though. As we head down, down, down. Is he going to look for the move, though? Flomger covering off the inside. He knows what's going to happen if he leaves the door open. Another potential switchback is not going to play out for Gulzar quite yet, although he remains rather close. So we head through Cheetah, both drivers on the brakes, wanting to make sure that they get that corner just right. And into the final corner. Slightly different lines depending on the car you're driving, and it looks like Flomger going to get the better of these two. Remains in P4 right now. So we're going to just take a break from that. Go back here. The battle for 16th still up for grabs. Briscoe will be losing it with the 5-second penalty, but you can bet your bottom dollar he is going to try and hold on to that just for the sense of accomplishment. Lutkis running wide there in Cheetah, but thankfully doesn't lose it. Holds on to 18. Thompson thought he could have had a move there, and it wasn't going to work. And then just behind them, Andrew Wilson losing some time. So he's had a little bit of a mishap somewhere during his lap, but Flomger still trying to keep Gulzar back as much as he can, but that gap really never going above a second. Heck, I'd even say it doesn't even go above half a second. Two drivers, of course, incredibly talented here in North American Sprint. Hamza Gulzar, of course, 779 points, just to remind you. This man is on a whole nother level. Definitely will be crossing the 800-point barrier. But will he be crossing the 850? That is going to be the question. If he finishes in 5th right now, he's getting 37 points. That'll net him 836. So, barring some absolutely catastrophic error, we could be seeing an 850 point, even maybe 875 should things really go his way, especially in the reverse grid. And we'll talk more about the reverse grid after this race. We do have to focus here on this battle for P16. It's still going. These guys, they know it's the final lap, and they know there's a penalty getting thrown in there, but they're not done quite yet. Timothy Flomger still with Gulzar not all over him. Not as much as it appeared, though. So it looks like some pace being lost. Keith Briscoe still holding on for top spot with these three BMWs. Behind them is actually Parody and Hasser, having a little bit of a dispute over P20. Andrew Wilson, missing his break point. Sort of just happy to be there in the battle and just being able to watch it go down in real time and actually be a part of it. Dave Hasser leading ahead. It looks like, so Parody's gotten a huge run. I thought Dave Hasser was a lot closer, and Brian Rasko, of course, unfortunately down in 23rd, dead last here because of the collision with Carpenter just getting that 5-second penalty. So perfect timing on the steward's part. Tadas Lutkis looks like he's getting a move done there around Briscoe for P16 as we were gazing off somewhere else. Lithuanian wanting to make sure that he is going to be the one who gets to take bragging rights of this little trio of BMWs. Fortunately, didn't see the move happen, but knowing Lutkis, it must have been quite a brave move around the outside of turn 1 if I really had to pin something on it. Now, Braden Thompson's going to want a piece of this pie, although he doesn't really have to. 5 seconds is the gap. He's going to get this position regardless, and I think Briscoe could also be losing a position to Parody. And somewhere beyond the fold, Lovering wins the race in convincing fashion. Pearson Steele, solid podium finish. Flomger holding off Gulzar as long as he could. That 20 minutes flew by. Michael Landry in P6. Clifford in P7. Very good for him. Sanchez 8. Dag is 9. Tim Brook across the line. P10. Steve Davis just going to miss out on that top 10 finish. Carpenter will be in 12th, but 5-second penalties is going to put Friza, Fernandez, and I believe Wicks ahead of him. Cross line, yeah, Wicks is going to get another position out of this. Lutkis somehow getting P16 after a last lap lunge there. Good for him. Briscoe, 5 seconds added on. That's going to push him down a little bit. Braden Thompson, P18, 19 for Wilson. Parody, I believe, is going to go up. So Briscoe's going to go all the way down to 20th. And then Dave Hasker, Brian Rasko, an unfortunate end. And Sam Raworth, what has happened to him? Well, he doesn't seem to know either. Banging his head against the wall, trying to figure it out. Mr. Enzo is not going to look too favorably upon you, my friend, as you damage his car. What is the safety car doing? Oh, man. I don't know who drives the safety car, but let me tell you something. They do a great job. Always having a little bit of fun there with this Chevy. How could you not? Oh, that is going to do it, though, for this first race, and what a race it was. So what we got to do is we got to do a little bit of math. Now, I'm not good at math by any means. Never have been, never will be. That's why I'm a communications major, so I don't have to do that one thing. So as the safety car goes out, I'm sure to be productive, as always. Man, it is gonna be tough trying to figure out all of these points, especially because not every driver is here, and that causes a little bit of an issue. Because you kind of have to figure out who's doing what and who's where, and this thing and that thing. It's always fun. We have fun here, he says to himself in a sad voice. But yeah, so the server should be ticking over to second qualifying, and from there we're gonna see just what happens. So Steele, P3 for him, very good podium finish. I'll try to give these sort of real-time point updates. I don't have a system in place that automatically does it for me. I'm just sort of there doing it myself, and we'll see just how things pan out. Goals are, of course, P5 doesn't really need all those points, but we're going to give it to him anyways, because that's always fun. And then we'll figure out the rest of the order as things carry on. I have to remember who I left off on and who I didn't. I don't know why the server isn't flipping over just yet, but hopefully you guys are enjoying the show so far. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look here at the timetable for race number 1, and this is going to give us a really good overview of just the pace of these drivers. I think it's really important to sort of highlight how much effort goes into preparing for a race even. A lot of people say, oh, you go in, you just sort of do your thing, and that's about it. You learn here, you drive there. It's good, it's whatever, who really cares? But the thing is that a lot of these drivers are really, they are spending hours upon hours trying to shave off just hundredths of a second here and there, trying to find any sort of advantage they can get over their competition, because it is such a tough field out there, especially when you get into the amateur or the pro category and the amateur category. Ooh, excuse me. So when you're looking at these guys who are trying to go for the best times, the best laps, what we see is the result of hours upon hours upon hours of effort. We don't see everything that actually goes into making these races happen, or making these races happen. And this doesn't just go for the drivers. Even here on the production team, all of the assets you see, that is done by Mullick, and he puts in a ton of effort to get these very high quality graphics in, so that way we can look very professional and do our job as we'd like to do. And of course our Simrigs sponsors, of course, going to give a shout out to them. This beautiful graphic here as well, provided to us from Australia, New Zealand, all of that. They've got you covered all the way in America and other places. Well, you've got some emailing to do, or Patreon members, of course, you're getting 5% off all of your gear, so why not use it? Sim racing equipment is not cheap by any means. So again, thank you, of course, to Simrigs for sponsoring Season 11 and hopefully Season 12 and beyond the Sprint Series. I am trying to do like 8 things at once. It's fun. So yeah, we'll try to get a lot of this sorted out. Look at the I'll be able to keep you guys updated on the times as we go through this. Also qualifying, should probably look at that, because that's very, very key in figuring out how things go. Of course, the drivers who are currently out on track will be getting their own little piece of this qualifying point system we have in place. And we'll see how that all pans out as things carry on. Top 5, of course, are getting these bonus points added on to their race. Really wish I had someone here to help me run this in the background, but it's whatever. We roll with it. Of course, I think I'm just gonna probably keep an eye on those really big battles. Wix and Parody, of course, being 2 of the drivers that I need to look at for the amateur class category. We'll see how that pans out. I think that's going to be very close. Same with Pro-Am. Fernandez Clifford, extremely close. And then Loverink and Flomger for the pro category. Right now, we are getting flying laps on through, so we are going to go and take a look at that. I know you guys are probably tired of sitting here in the Simrig safety car cockpit. I know that I would be in some regard. Carlo. Races with no prior experience. The best teacher is experience. What do you mean? You're always out there doing something, anything at all, to try to get better. Especially hard here with, you know, you look at sim racing in general, a lot of racing games, it's really hard. And I feel like that's something that's kind of important to talk about is, you know, I play a game called Trackmania. It's a racing game, it's an arcade racer, but, you know, not like Mario Kart, but there's definitely some aspects of, you know, weight transfer, gears, and all these other fun things. You know, break points, turn-in points, when you should accelerate, when you shouldn't accelerate. I don't have to worry about oversteer, though, which is good. But I do drift. But, you know, that's sort of the thing with these racing games, is it's about shaving off just these little bits of time. Little bits of time. You know, it's basically speed running. If you really want to put it into perspective. So let's see. After the first round, 5 points. Skylar Lovering, 601 right now for amateur class. I'm not even going to worry about Galzar. He's already won this thing. He is long gone. Flomger, with his points, picks up 40. He's at 539. So Golzar, of course, top of pro class. He's got 850 or something points, 30-something points. This dude's on a whole nother level. That's all I know. Actually, no, he's at 816. 817, because he has the pole position for quali. Or, no, not pole position. He has 1 point for his 5th place start. So, the battle for pro might have been decided already. 62 points between Loverink and Flomger. Flomger has to win this next race. If Flomger wants to take home P2 in the pro category, he has to win this race. He has to have at least that 62-point gap. First gets 75 and second gets 60. So he either beats Loverink to the line for first place or nothing. Plain and simple. Looking at Pro-Am, of course, Wilson Fernandez still has Clifford to deal with. So if we look at the points from the last race, 455 is what Clifford has to work with. Fernandez, who finished... Hold on, I want to see where Fernandez finished. I didn't quite see it. Hold on. 15th for Fernandez is only enough for 16 points. So that puts him at 469. Nice. So Clifford is only 14 points back off of Fernandez. So this fight for the top spot in Pro-Am is still on. Steve Davis, not really a chance. He's 115 points back from Fernandez prior to this point change. So things are going to get interesting. 14 points is the gap between Clifford and Fernandez. So we'll see. There's a lot of ways this could go for Pro-Am. For the amateur class... Did I just get disconnected? No, I didn't. We're getting to the end of qualifying. So, actually, as we look at this, so Fernandez, 5 points, 4 points for Briscoe. This is going to open up a much bigger... it's going to open up a much bigger gap. Thompson in P3. Rasco, P4, is going to get 2 points. And then it'll be Austin Carpenter getting that final point in the qualifying session. All right, so let's get back out there and figure out where the heck everybody is. There they are. And then amateur class parity, of course, is at 121 points at the end of it all. Darren Wicks is only at 91. So he needs a 30-point gap, which means he will have to finish realistically in the top 4. Well, actually, he could go down to 6. He could finish P6. But he's got to, I mean, that's only 37 points. Or, sorry, 34 points. So, unless Kevin ends up 29th in a grid of 22, it's tall order. 9th gets, or 22 gets 9 points. So we'll keep an eye on all these. With the pole position from Fernandez, that's 474 points, which means Clifford is now 19 points off of winning Pro-Am. Loverink holding on to P2, albeit just by... Actually, no, that might be it. I think Loverink does have P2. 601 to 539, 70. Or no, 60. Yeah, we talked about this. Flomger has to win. Flomger has to win this race. I really wish I was better at math. I really wish I was quicker on the draw on that one. But either way, things are gonna get spicy, I think. We are gonna have some pretty hectic races. They're a pretty hectic race. So I think it is important to sort of note how the start procedure works for Super Sprint, because we haven't had this in a while. So for those of you that don't remember, or maybe you're new here, the way Super Sprint works, of course, you have that first 20-minute round, and then after that, you go into a second round of qualifying. The top 12, they do not get to qualify. They have to stay in the pit. Everyone else goes out. Obviously, top 12 reverse grid, first to 12, second to 11, third to 10, so on and so on. And then that'll set the grid, and then everybody in qualifying 13 or 12, or who are finished beyond the top 12, whatever their position is at the end of qualifying, of course, just add 12 onto where they finished, and that's where they're going to start. The way the race start procedure works is, seeing as time here has expired, Simrigs safety car going to pull away. Now what's going to happen is one thing, we're going to try to get a straight line going down the start-finish straight. So guys, if we can do that, that'd be really cool. What the race director is going to do is he is going to call out the car numbers in that reverse grid order, and what they are going to do is they are going to line up behind the safety car, and then once they're all through and sorted out, then the rest of the field will get to follow 13th and down. So as we come through here, I believe that is Friza. Could be wrong. Behind him, Steve Davis. So yeah, we should be getting drivers. Yep, there's Friza, there's Davis. Eric Mahoney, driver we're not seeing here tonight. Unfortunate to not have you. Calling the podium now. Hasser P1, Thomas Tagg 17, P2, 17th up to P2. Okay, or no, sorry, that's 17th P2. Colin Johnson DQ'd by Tommy. You know, with how things are going, it's gonna. Some of these races coming down to the wire. Now, let's see if we got a straight line. Here we go. That's the rest of the grid. Okay, that doesn't help us. There goes Skylar Lovering, of course, last race sprinter. And here goes everybody else. So Wilson Fernandez, of course, going to be lining up P13 on the grid. So let's see what we've got. Oh, my God, we have a straight line. We actually managed a straight line. I am so impressed. You know, we always talk about how good we are. We're so good. We can make a straight line on a reverse grid. It's ridiculous. Oh, goodness. But now we've got 40 minutes on the clock here. Optimum track, no rain to be spoken of on the forecast. As we head around, one more quick shout out, of course, to Simrigs, sponsoring Season 11 of the Sprint Series. We've already talked about them enough. Australia, New Zealand, you're covered. Outside of that, it's going to be emails for you until you get that order sorted out. 5% off for all of our Patreon members. Use it. Savings are great. Coming from the kid who's the son of a mom who coupons just about everything she can. I'll tell you right now, the savings can be huge, especially with how expensive sim racing equipment can be. Again, thank you, of course, Simrigs sponsoring Season 11. Hopefully more in the future as we get back out on track here. Simrigs safety car, of course, leading everyone through. And the way the start procedure works here is a little different. Obviously, there's a timing line that the game uses for P1, but because of the fact that there is a bit of an order change, we have to do a manual start. And for some drivers, that messes them up a little bit. Certainly, right now, drivers are kind of struggling to figure out who's where on the grid. But yeah, because of this reverse grid order, we have to do a manual start. Because the game doesn't really know what we're doing. It just sort of does its thing. But we line up 2 by 2 here, or attempting to, it looks like. I don't really think anybody knows who's where. It's been a couple of months since we've done this. As Michael Landry and Hamza Gulzar can't really decide who's going to go in front, but who is at the front? It is Chris Frizza and Steve Davis on that front row of the grid. Brooke and Dag behind them. Sanchez, Clifford, Landry, Gulzar, Flomger, Steele, Pierce, and Loverink. Those 12 cars down. But ladies and gentlemen, here we go for the last time. Season 11 at Kyalami for these drivers before a nice, well-deserved break. We have far crossed that start-finish line. This is going to get really dicey. It's green, green, green for the last time. Down into turn number 1. Davis getting an amazing start there from Frizza, and just behind them, Brooke starting to get a little bit of a nip on the inside of this corner of Dag. Down we go. It's 3 wide and 4 wide in the background as everybody is managing this first corner just right. Sam Raworth getting onto the curb a little too much and has to back out. Landry cutting across the front of Dag's Audi does not get turned around. Everybody's punting in the background. We've got Flomger. We have, I believe, that Steele as well. And then behind them, all member of Crazy as Timothy Flomger right now having to deal Thomas Pierce around the outside down into Sunset. Behind them, of course, Steele trying to get a piece of this. Gulzar as well having to run from Loverink, the winner from last race. He's trying to get that P2 in the championship for Pro Class. Behind them, Keith Briscoe, or sorry, Thompson and I believe that's Rasco, trying to figure out who is going to be in position 16. It looks like Rasco is, and that's going to give Fernandez a chance to, Thompson a chance to fire up the inside of Fernandez as we get ready to head down the mine shaft. They're not looking for diamonds, but it's certainly going to seem like it. Austin Carpenter in the picture as well. Steve Davis really running away with this. This reverse grid has gone beautifully for the Australian. He is opening up the gap as much as he can. Thomas Pierce there on the inside of Jonathan Clifford. He's barely going to avoid contact through Crocodile. Carrying on through Cheetah we go. It looks like Dag ahead of Clifford somehow defending the inside line. Clifford maybe thought about of a switchback, but it's not in the cards just yet. Pierce holding on. He's got the line on the Lamborghini as we head on to another lap. It's been pretty clean from everybody, but there is still 40 minutes of action ahead. Tadas Lutkis, Dave Hasser, the fight for P19, and behind them, Sam Raworth and Andrew Wilson. This is 22 for these guys. Down into turn number 1, there's Hasser on the inside, but he's going to be on the outside for the subsequent corner. Does he get the drive out of it? It doesn't seem like it. He's going to have to push back in, and Sam Raworth in the same sort of position, losing some time. Thomas Dag off the road there. That is going to push Pierce, Flomger, Hasser, and quite possibly Steele on through into a further position. Thomas Pierce, the Mercedes right now, all over the rear wing. You can see Gulzar as well trying to pull open a gap there to Dag, who finds himself in a bit of a squabble for positions, trying to find his footing again and get back out there and try to pick himself back up. Still got 37 minutes to do it. We've had an amazing explosive start here for the final race of the season. I'm always excited for the last race. It always brings out some of the craziest moments, and we are seeing it here right at the start. Darren Wicks, P16 for him, just ahead of Lutkis, who has a better run there out of the top of the hill down mineshaft. Has to pull out of the slipstream and then back in. The Porsche, though, not really known for its top end. As we head down Crocodiles, Darren Wicks staying ahead somehow, just by a little bit. Skylar Loverink having a little bit of an argument there with Rasco for a moment for P11. But it seems like Marshmallow's scaring off the big old Bentley. No problem at all. P11 here for your race winner from last time around, Wilson Fernandez. Door to door here. Austin Carpenter down into turn number 1. It's a long, long run down into that heavy braking zone. And there is going to be a move possibly from Clifford down the inside. He's a bit later on the brakes. Does he make it stick? No, not quite yet. Austin Carpenter, I get my drivers mixed up. He somehow stays on to P13, or P14 actually, as Fernandez squeaks on by. So probably we saw him on the inside there, down to turn number 1. Steve Davis starting to lose a lot of ground here Frizza has done an amazing job of reeling him in. Of course, Davis, somewhere in the morning or afternoon for him if my time zone calculations are correct. So by no means sleep deprivation for him. John and Clifford, good point. Clifford way down P15, so wondering what happened there. Michael Landry trying to get around Pierce, or trying to get away from Pierce rather, as just up ahead is the top four. Davis, Frizza, Brooks, Sanchez. There, down the hill they go. Pierce in the slipstream. Aston Martin also not really known for the best top end as he fires it down the inside. Michael Landry is gonna have to give the position. No, not quite. And as they come out of Crocodile, unfortunately, it is gonna happen. A quick brake tap. There's Frizza off the road. Coming out of Cheetah, probably just getting a little too eager on the inside curb and has to take to the grass, slowing way down. That is going to put Brooke and Sanchez up into the podium positions. Landry and Frizza still in their spots on the hunt for one another. See your house, Andrew Wilson, P8 or P19. No, P18. These things never update when I think they will. Raworth behind, and then behind them it is the quartet of Hasser, Briscoe, Parody, Thompson for BMWs. Ooh, a lot of front end damage there for Braden Thompson. Not quite certain about that. Dave Hasser holding on right now. Briscoe maybe thought about a move down the inside, thinking better of it. Knows he's got a lot of time to work with. Thomas Dagg is holding on right now. Looks like he got it a little bit incorrect. Actually, Skylar Loverick not getting the best line there. Down the sunset, later on the brakes, almost going into the back of Dag. That's going to give Rasco a chance to actually get in on the action here. Skylar Lovering is just going to have to let the Bentley through. He realizes right now he doesn't have the pace. He's going to have to try it again later, down to P12. So for him, it's been the same spot he started in, and it continues to be more of the same. Flomger has gotten around. Looks to be Steele for P8, and he is all over the rear end of Landry. As Landry firing it down the inside. That was a brave move. It doesn't work out. It inadvertently pushes Flomger out of the way. And Golzar is going to say thank you very much. I'll have those positions. Why not? P4 for him. Or sorry, P6 rather. And Sanchez into the pit, surprisingly. I hope this is not because he doesn't have enough fuel. If that's the reason, that is going to be embarrassing for him. An incredibly talented driver, and he's just going to go down, down, down the order. We are not going to be seeing him out of the pits anytime soon, unfortunately. Steve Davis leading the field right now, just ahead of Brooke, a fellow BMW driver. As they're both sort of weaving all over the place. Maybe a little bit of a strategic BMW communication. I know that you can communicate with cars, but you're using the blinkers for that, and, well, BMW drivers, they don't use those. So maybe a little bit of bobbing and weaving is the way for them to communicate their plans. I'm not well versed in BMW, Ian. I don't know what language they speak, but they're speaking it, and they're doing it. Sanchez stopped to go 30. If I had to bet on it, that's probably for speeding in the pit lane. That is going to be ours. That'll get turned over to a time penalty. Tim Brook thought maybe he had a run there on the inside, but not quite close enough. We'll keep an eye on this. Brian Rasco with Thomas Daga ahead. Skylar Lovefrink has gotten around Wilson Fernandez, who has taken hold of that P12. Definitely not the place he wants to be. You do see that gap coming out. That is huge for Loverank. Lets him just focus on Fernandez, or on Rasco. As we head through Crocodiles and through Cheetah. The Boatley, one of the safest cars you can drive, but even over Cheetah, it cannot hold up no matter what you do. It is going to spin out. Michael Landry is going to be leading. Nice little train of cars here just behind him. Steel Dag, Rasco, Lovering, Fernandez, I think just a little bit beyond slipstream range. Clifford picking up a 5-second penalty. Not quite certain what that's all about. It's a collision on lap 2. And then also for Braden Thompson, 10 seconds, a collision as well. Not certain which collisions that's talking about. but certainly we'll keep an eye on it. Thomas Pierce has gotten an incredible run right now. Has really reeled in Brooke and Davis, no problem. He thought about something on the inside, but realizes that is not the place to really do it. Could he see it here? No, he doesn't. Just has to back out. And just losing some traction there out of the corner. And that gap that was about 0.2. Now looking to be almost 2 seconds. Ooh, Skylar Lovering, a little bit of a love tap there onto Rasko. That is going to unsettle the Bentley. A little bit of a mini switch back here. Is going to see Lovering get the power down nice and early. A straight shot for him. Top of the hill, though, but on the inside line, it's Brian Rasko who does lay claim to that one. Another little switchback move here for Loverink. As we head down, where is he? He's just slotting in right behind again. Landry picks up 5 seconds. That is going to be for the little bit of a bump earlier on Flomger that pushed Golzar up. Davis as wide as he dares, and he's getting a little too greedy, and that's going to push him off his line quite a lot. Brooke down the inside, same with Pierce, taking advantage of that mistake. So Steve Davis down into P3, although still very much in spitting range of Pierce, splitting up these BMWs. We'll see if he can fight this one back, and Pierce really overshooting his break point, it looks like, but able to keep things neat and tidy. The rear bumper is going to be taking up quite a lot of his view right now, as your current leader, Tim Brooke, trying to pull away as best he can. Thomas Pierce feigning a move down the inside, but Brooke, nerves of steel, keeps it together. Is not going to be flustered by that by any means. This lead still very much together. I'd say top 6 really have a shot. Brooke down to Flomger for P1 victory here by the end. Thomas Dagg ahead of Michael Landry by just about half a second. Landry, of course, 5 seconds rather, is gonna add a little bit of a wrench into the works, it looks like, as Skylar Lovering throws it on the inside. Rasko can't defend it, and he loses the back end and actually gets tapped there, I think, by Landry. No, it wasn't Landry. I'm pinning the blame on people who it is, and I think it might have been Carpenter. I just, for a moment, saw a pink McLaren, and that is going to send Rasko all the way down the field. We saw it earlier in the first race, and we're going to see it again here. Rasko, his day just goes from bad to worse. Incident in the first race, and now another one, and we've got a ton of penalties coming in. So car 7-10, Michael Landry, of course, 5 seconds on collision, lap 4. Car 29, that is Jonathan Steele, 5 seconds for, you guessed it, collision on lap 5. So the last race of the season, Brian Rasko into the pits here. Just a quick mention of that one. But yeah, at the end of the season, these drivers are really just giving us quite the show, and Davis is going to give us a very good overview as Pierce has the lead right now. Tim Brooke falling back behind, so maintaining some position with his fellow BMW, and I believe just behind that, Chris Frizza, chance here to maybe grab a position. Skylar Loverink, I think, getting the move done around Landry. Yes, he does, up into P9. This man on a charge. Guess the fire roasting some nice marshmallows for some s'mores. It's getting cold out, so who doesn't like a good fire? But I think that the evil stare of his cat marshmallow is definitely giving him quite a lot of pace. Thomas Pierce, though, is your leader here at Kyalami, the last race of the season for Sprint Series, and I know exactly how all these drivers are going to celebrate once that checkered flag comes out. And then it's Brooke, Davis, Frizza, Golzar, your top 5, Flomger, Steele, Dagg, Lovering, Landry, top 10. We got a couple of penalties, so that's going to mix things around. Frizza way onto the grass, somehow keeping that Ferrari in check and maintains that P4. That was very scary for him. Landry into the pits, probably serving his penalty. We've got Rasko, Sanchez, and Thompson all with 10 seconds. Hamza Golzar finds himself with a bit of a slipstream here as he throws it down into turn number 1. He is just barely ahead And as they come through turn 2, he is going to have that position. And it looks like Frizza might actually, I thought for a moment, Flonger may have been on the inside, but he was a little too far back. My ears deceiving me. Hamza Gulzar taking advantage of the speed that he would carry out of Cheetah and gets around Frizza, no problem at all. So despite Gulzar already winning this championship, he says, I don't care, I want more. I'm not done quite yet. And who isn't done is Skylar Loverink. He is giving Dag a hard time for that P8. Of course, Loverink starting P12 because of the reverse grid. Already up to P9. He's going to be seeking more by the end of it. It is the last race of the season, but right now it's really just for bragging rights. Frizza just outside the top 5 here. Flomger breathing down his neck. With a little bit of a slipstream, this could pull him in closer, but a move is going to be very, very dangerous, especially with how wide Crocodile is. It's deceptively large and almost into the rear corner panel, and it looks like somehow Frizza misses his line a bit, and that pushes Flomger on through. The two Ferraris, Loverink, or sorry, not Loverink, Frizza and Steele have a little bit of a squabble to deal with. I know the liveries are roughly the same. It's just the way Kunos does things, it looks like. Never an easy way to get these liveries set in any way, shape, or form. There is a program out there to fix that, but we don't have that this season. We're looking to probably have that next season. Make things a little easier on our end, so that way we don't have to constantly be getting skin livery updates. Not that it's really a huge problem to install them, but it gets a little bit annoying. You're always wondering, oh, does it work, does it not work? Who really knows? Thomas Dag right now, still dealing with Lovering, still on his tail. Last lap for Dag. 42.2 for Lovering, a 41.9, 3/10 that gap, and Lovering is really doing his best to try to fire it down the inside here. It's a brave move, Dag trying to cover it off. It's not really going to work all that well, and Lovering pulls forward. He does make contact there with the Audi, but Dag backed out, so I don't know if that's really going to be a penalty. Ooh, Dag flashing his headlights. Maybe saying, hey, that wasn't the cleanest overtake. We'll see if the stewards have anything to say about that. Right now, Steve Davis, what he's got to worry about is a nice, bright, pink BMW with a livery name that I am a huge fan of, a team name that I'm a fan of. Gulzar just a little tap onto Davis. Looks more accidental than deliberate. Gulzar, of course, very talented, very clean driver. Oh, Flomger loses it! Out of Cheetah, head first into the wall there. And Flomger, that has got to hurt. We're going to take a look at that again. So this is through Cheetah, and he picks up, I think he just picked up a little, I think he picked up the throttle just a little too early. And that spins him right into the wall. It didn't look like he went over the inside of the corner. He does stay out, though. Darren Wicks could be on for P13 here. And it seems like even if you get Cheetah sorted out, there's always going to be some bit of that spirit just getting you when you least expect it. We're going to ride here with Darren Wicks right now, number 14. I don't think he has a shot at the amateur class championship, but of course, anything can happen. But Flomger, despite the damage, already pulling away quite well. The Porsche, of course, for Darren Wicks here, a car that's rather tricky to drive, especially as you drive more. Of course, the weight reduces because of the fuel tank, and the Porsche doesn't really like that all too much. She will try and kill you at pretty much every opportunity, if you even look at a corner just a little incorrectly. But Wicks, of course, doing a phenomenal job of keeping that Porsche. The only Porsche actually on the grid here tonight. So for him, job well done keeping that thing pointed in the right direction. Dave Hasser and Sam Raworth are sort of just chilling with each other down P17, 18 for both of them. What a season it's been for these two drivers. Dave Hasser, it seems like he's been sort of up and down, and Raworth, of course, just doing his own thing, staying in his lane, and in some regard, I gotta respect it. But hope to see all these drivers back again next season, of course, regardless of what goes down. Thomas Dag has been losing time. Fernandez, you almost think, would this move have happened anyways, regardless of what he tried? Well, we don't really know. I think for sure Lovrink would have gotten around him with absolutely no problem at all, but to be losing time to Fernandez and Carpenter and even Clifford is something that I couldn't have predicted, I think. But Frizza has to deal with Lovrink, another Ferrari driver, of course, but he knows all of the horsepower that's under that hood, especially because of the added cat. I think it adds a couple of horsepower more. And we're seeing that here. Obviously not like the F1 car from this year. These cars are a lot more reliable, and the strategists know what they're doing. A lot of talk of a lot of interesting moves in the F1 sphere, I must say. And the team principal changes, so we'll see how that plays out in the coming F1 season at the start in March. Skylar Lovrink right now really just chucking this thing down the inside from another zip code, and that is going to be P6 zipped away from Frizza as he falls down to P7, heading down a little bit. We're not done. Frizza could be on for a move here. Down to Crocodile just up ahead. It's, I believe, Steele and Davis right now for P4. Frizza not getting the best drive, so he is just going to sit back. Both of these Ferraris getting it through Cheetah very, very well. And Steve Davis, he doesn't want to, but he is going to be giving Jonathan Steele that slipstream. But how much is that actually going to help? Doesn't look like a lot. Sanchez, oh god, a drive through. That's brutal. Last race of the season. Whoa, Steele missing his brake point. Almost going into the back end of the BMW, but thankfully able to dodge out of the way of an incident he could have incited. And now that Thomas Pierce has gotten around Brooke, he's just been... God, he is just gone. Look at this. Out of Sunset. So where is Brooke? He just barely enters the screen. This man, all he needed was to get around one person, and that was that. He did not have to worry about anything. Last lap for Pierce is a 41.28. For Brooke, it was a 42.4. So you see the gap in goals are 41.65. Fastest lap does belong to Pierce, a 41.01. I don't think that was as fast as Lovrink in the last race, but certainly nothing to scoff at. We pop back here. 13, 14, 15, 16. Flomger, Wicks, Wilson, Briscoe. Flomger, I think he's starting to struggle to control the Mercedes a little bit because of that front end damage. Darren Wicks maybe thinking about a move down the outside, or around the outside rather. Just not enough drive for him to really get the power down as early as he would have liked. Just has to sit back and wait, perhaps banking on Flomger making another fatal error at Cheetah. But Flomger, very smart, very talented driver, knows when to just pull it back a bit to maintain that control, and he's doing just that as he stays ahead. Tim Brook, Tim Brook, Hamza Golzar. We have two fastest laps. Oh god, I don't know how that's gonna get sorted. Oh, Hamza Golzar, thought there was some light there on the inside. Turns out it was just a lamp. There was no sunlight there. Steve Davis, he's got John Steele and Skylar Lovrink on his tail. This is not looking good for the Aussie, but maybe he's banking on Skylar Lovrink fighting with John Steele, and it slows both of them down, and that's able to give him a bit of breathing room. But look at that. I gotta take a picture of that. I have never seen two cars with fastest laps. If I burn your ears with the Steam screenshot sound effect, I apologize. I have never seen two cars in ACC get the same lap time for fastest lap, a 1 minute 41.010. Pierce and Lovrink, the exact same time. If I'm not mistaken, though, Pierce would get the fastest lap point because of the fact that he got it first. I'm just assuming. I could be wrong. Things are starting to settle down. We've had some very exciting racing all the way up till now. Halfway just about has gone past us. And, well, it's really looking like Davis is trying to find some sort of fire he can maybe burn the bridge down to Steele and Lovrink with. these two drivers extremely quick. Andrew Wilson starting to pull away a little bit from Briscoe, who hasn't found a lot of pace, it seems like, these last couple of laps. Flomger as well, despite the pro rating and the damage. Darren Wicks just staying in it, albeit barely. He is maintaining this gap and doing a very fine job of it. Tim Brook, uh-oh, who is that? That's Hamza Golzar. He's looking for a move down the inside through Sunset. We've got a yellow flag out on the track. Not quite certain what that's all about. And look at Hamza Golzar. Incredibly brave stuff there. Able to just send it down the inside, trust the grip he has in the car, and pushes his BMW up another position. I mean, we talk about, oh, John Steele's fallen way down the grid. I know I give him so much praise and so much, you know, kind words, and it is entirely justified. I know he loves hearing it. I know you're going to listen to this afterwards, Golzar. I remember listening to it right now. You have impressed me every single season you have been in Sprint, and I mean that in every sense of the word. You are by far one of the best drivers I think we've ever had in North America, and I really hope you keep coming back to give these drivers a chance. You know, maybe don't pull like a Lewis Hamilton and let these guys just lose every season, but I mean, it really is incredible to watch this guy just send it around the track every single week. It seems like no matter what, he's able to pull magic out of a hat and make it work and get these incredible finishes. I don't have the stats pulled up right now, but I don't think he's ever had a necessarily bad finish in any of the race. Of course, you could argue that maybe the super sprints, but I don't really think you could use that. He's in P2 right now. He is absolutely sending it. Has a bit of a gap, though, to Thomas Pierce. Andrew Wilson, uh-oh. Wilson, oh, geez, that was... I don't know if I agree with that one. We're going to roll this back. So, he just loses the back end. There's no contact with Cheetah. He just loses the back end of the McLaren, and that sends him around into the wall. And then this, ooh, that rejoin, that wasn't much of a rejoin, but that was very dangerous. I'm sure the stewards are going to look at that and give him possibly a penalty, because that's Dave Hasser almost T-boned him. But that's not for me to decide. That's for the stewarding team to decide. And I think it is important to kind of mention just how much work the stewarding team takes, or how much work they do to really make sure that their penalty distribution is fair and 100% set in stone, because they have to look at it from all these angles. They got to look at each driver, look at the telemetry, look at past laps, how they've been behaving, and all of these just huge things. So to the stewarding team, of course, huge shout outs to them. All they do season after season, it's never easy. I know we all like to think it's a very easy job and anybody can do it, and you could argue anyone can do it, but just because anybody can do it doesn't mean they should do it. So again, to the stewarding team, of course, thank you guys so much for making sure that these races, as always, are the best they can be, and they do listen to all protests when they come in, and they do a thorough sort of discussion, and sometimes penalties do get overturned. Other times they don't. Again, it's a whole process. So I think it's important to really give some spotlight to the unsung heroes, if you will, of North American Sprint and EU Sprint and AP Sprint. Of course, if you're looking to fill in some positions here at the OOR, they are open for next season. Stewarding team looking for new members. Broadcast team, hint, hint, also looking for some members next season. Of course, if you're in the rookie series and you've just finished up your season, or about, I believe that's it. I think they just finished up their season a couple days ago, and you're thinking you're ready for something a bit more, when registrations open for season 12 of the Sprint Series, of course, we are going to be putting that notification out on the Discord. Just got to head on over to the website. I'm sure we'll provide a link right to the page itself. There'll be a nice button that says registrations open. Just got to click on that, fill out the form, and give it some time to get sorted out. We get hundreds upon hundreds of applications that we need to go through. It takes a lot of time, so you got to be patient with all the guys and gals who do that. I know when I did it, I had to wait, I don't even remember how long. It felt like forever. Eventually got back to me and said, hey, here you go. Here are the keys to your Aston Martin. Get out there, have some fun. So if you're looking to make that leap, highly recommend it. If you don't think you're ready yet, hey, totally fine. If you want to do another season in rookies, or you just want to stay in rookies, that's also fine. No one's forcing you to do anything. But again, when those registrations go live, we will let you know. Dave Hasser with Braden Thompson getting around Keith Briscoe, surprisingly. Not quite certain when that happened. Oh, hold on. Wait a second. Where is Briscoe? Briscoe. Ooh, what the heck happened to Briscoe? He is bolted. He's gone. Okay, never mind. I was looking at everything wrong. So, Braden Thompson, though, 10 seconds. That's rough. That's going to push Raworth right back up. That could also possibly give parity another couple places. We'll have to see how that works out. Look back up the field here. Austin Carpenter, P8 ahead of Fernandez. And just up ahead, look at Skylar Loverink there. On the, I think the inside of Davis. He does get the move done, and now Frizza, sensing that perhaps there's a weak BMW he can maybe get around. Trying to reel in. Skylar Loverink up into P4, still sharing fastest lap with Thomas Pierce. I'm wondering if instead of giving one person the points, we give them both, we like split it in half. But then that runs the question of what if everybody gets the fastest lap, which they won't. But we can play pretend. We can play pretend. That would be something. But Skylar Loverink, who started P12 in this race because of that reverse grid, all the way up to 4th. That is absolutely amazing. Another driver, of course, I am incredibly impressed with week after week. He has shown why he is such a threat here in the OOR. He does not want anybody to have even a moment's rest from him. Of course, the spirit of Marshmallow carrying him forward this season and into next. We do have, I think we have a new penalty coming through. Oh, we got a couple. Car 29, that is none other than John Steele, who's been in the pits for the last couple of laps. 5 seconds added on to the 5 seconds he already had. Collision on lap 15. And then car 91, Andrew Wilson, the unsafe rejoin on lap 6. So not what we're used to seeing. I don't remember seeing that, but that wasn't the... Oh, that might have been... No, that was a couple laps ago we saw an unsafe rejoin on Cheetah. Or on the exit of Cheetah, rather. So I'm not certain what's happening. Again, these penalties take time to come through. But right now, Thomas Pierce still maintains the lead. Has opened up the gap by about 2.5 seconds over Golzar. And just driven away the second he got around those slower cars. He has been able to just get out of there. No problem for him. Incredible stuff. Golzar, of course, trying to chase him down as best he can, but no, that BMW not quite as powerful, it seems, as the Aston Martin. Last lap for Pierce, a 41.2. For Golzar, it's a 42.0? How are you 8/10? How are you 8/10, my friend? You know what? Whatever. Last lap for Brooke, a 43.3. What are these times? I can't say anything. I'm slow. But, yeah, even with Golzar's fastest lap, which is a 41.5, that's still half a second off of Pierce's best. So even if he's lapping at the same pace as his PB, well, it's not really going to matter. Because he's got a lot of ground to cover, and 7 minutes to go. There's not enough time to really get that done. So we look back here. Frizza is going to just peek around Davis, and Dag also looking down the inside here as we head into the S's. It looks like Davis ran a little bit wide. That's going to lose him a bunch of time. Frizza bolts. Does not want to stick around any longer. Thomas Dag trying to get the power down, but not having the same sort of success as the Ferrari behind them. Carpenter having to deal with Fernandez, who maybe trying to fake one way, dip and dodge the other. Doesn't have the drive there. Carpenter using everything that McLaren is strong with to get that gap opened up. It's only 3/10 though. Fernandez maybe feeling like the inside line was the way to go, but decides not to. So Carpenter holds on to P8. Chris Frizza up into P5 from, I believe, P6. Thomas Dag as well taking over P6 because Davis drops down a couple positions, so that opens things up. So we head on to another lap. There's Skylar Lovrink chasing down Brook, and Skylar Lovrink has a 5-second penalty. What happened? A collision on lap 1. Come on. Come on, Lovrink. You're better than this. But now he's got to get around Tim Brook, open 5 seconds in 5.5 minutes. I know for a fact Tim Brook is not going to let that one slide. He is not going to let that happen. Unless, and I'm not going to finish that sentence, I'm just going to leave that one up to you guys to put the pieces together. But I think this little pack of 5 is actually the place to really be. Frizza to Fernandez, they right in between the 2 penalties of Lovrink and Clifford, 5 seconds for both of them. So a very clean pack here. Frizza done an excellent job getting away from Dag. A 43.3 for him, a 43.6 for Dag, 44.7 for Davis. Obviously not indicative of true last lap times rather, because of the little bit of errors that we saw. But definitely doing a very good job keeping things together. Carpenter just trying to hold on to what he can. He's trying to cover off everything all at once. Fernandez, a little later on the brakes, doesn't make the move stick and is going to lose time out of the corner. Dave Hasser trying to pull away from Braden Thompson. Last lap for the Kraft Noodles machine, a 43.6 and then a 43.5 for Thompson. So it's a 10th between them on that last lap. But definitely going to be difficult to make work. Tim Brook holding on. P3 by the skin of his teeth. The fastest lap still being shared between Pierce and Lovrink, that 141.01. Way too many ones. Things really getting crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if Lovrink goes for a move, but even if he gets the move done, he has only a few laps to get that 5-second gap, so he's maybe preying on a bit of a downfall or something of that magnitude to hold on to a P3 finish. That would be amazing. P3 starting from P12 because of the reverse grid. Thomas Dag slowly reeling in Frizza. 42.95 for Frizza. 42.58 for Dag. Davis a 42.84. 42.93 for Carpenter. 42.73 for Fernandez. So we've got some drivers moving forward and backward in this little group of 5. This is actually, 5. I can't count. So it looks like we have 2 little packs forming. So we have the 3 drivers in front here, and then 2 of them behind, and then just behind that is Jonathan Clifford, who does have bigger than 5 seconds of a gap to Lutkus. So if he keeps it neat and tidy, he will get that position. He'll be able to hold on to that top 10. Although it could be just barely enough. Austin Carpenter, man, this is like, drivers are they're finding time in one spot and then losing it in the next, and it's just the same corners. It feels like lap after lap after lap. So they're never really getting the same sort of start or same sort of lap they want. Out of the final corner, Wilson Fernandez really struggling to get the power down early. Already finds himself about 6/10 off. That last lap is 3/10 slower than Carpenter. Look at that. That's just crucial how the final corner is here at Kyalami. Getting it just right. You have such a long straight to play with that what ends up happening is if you just get that exit wrong, you're missing out on so much speed by the end. You know, even with the slipstream, it sometimes isn't enough to overcome that, just that slim error. And that's really been the name of the game, I think, here at Kyalami in a lot of these splits, NA, EU, AP. You know, you really have to make sure you've got these tracks on lockdown, because if you don't, it is going to cause some problems. Wilson Fernandez, despite not getting the best final corner, of course, has reeled Carpenter back in. So this again is that yo-yo effect we talk about quite a lot here in the OOR. You have just Time gain, time lost. Dave Hasser battling there with his fellow Canadian, Braden Thompson. He goes right over the inside. A little too inside. Thompson's going to say thank you for that position, but Dave Hasser sort of smirking under the helmet. He knows, despite that move being done, he is going to pick up P15 because of penalties. On to the last lap we go. Thomas Pierce, one more tour of Kyalami, and he is going to be done and dusted. There's Eduardo Sanchez, P20 with plus 10 added on, so he is hurting real bad. And then out here we have Gulzar and Brook and Loverink quite a ways off, but look at this little 5-pack here. Frizza, Dag, Davis, Carpenter, Fernandez still keeping things nice and tight. Thomas Dag with the slipstream, looking down the inside, as much room as he can muster. Frizza just has to back out of that one, and Dag pulls up into the top 5 here. Could this be a top 5 finish for the 177 driver at the end of the season? He's certainly gonna hope so. Davis, Carpenter, Fernandez pulling in quite close. Skylar Loverick has gotten around Tim Brook, but he has half a lap to go to try and open up 5 seconds, and if I'm being honest, folks, I don't think that's really possible. Dave Hasser into the pit lane. I'm not quite certain what that's all about. Unfortunate end to his season. You hate to see it, but that is how it is going to end, it looks like, for the Canadian. Chris Frizza, he is desperate for this. He wants the P5, but he's probably going to have to settle for P6. Thomas Pierce, he's just got to get through Cheetah one final time. Can he do it? Hooks it up beautifully, and just down into the final corner. Rifling down the gears for the last time. Ladies and gentlemen, out of the final corner, Thomas Pierce is going to pick up the win here at Kyalami, the last race of the season. Across the line he goes, and that is going to be himself on the top step of the podium. Hamza Gulzar, what is there to say about this man? Powers it out of the final corner. P2, what a race for him. Skylar Loverink, it's P3, but the problem is 5 seconds loom, and Tim Brook will be promoted back up into P3. Does Thomas Dag have enough drive under the Audi to make it? No, he does not. He's going to be P5 ahead of Frizza, Davis, Carpenter, and Fernandez. Jonathan Clifford comes across in P10. Lutkis is there. Time. Oh, it's so close. I believe that's only 0.75 seconds for him. Flomger P12, Wicks 13th, very good stuff. Briscoe in 14th. Braden Thompson has to get through the final corner as well. 15th for him, but 10 seconds. And Andrew Wilson, there's Kevin Parody. I think Parody might have just enough to pick up these 2 positions. So let's see what the gap is by the end of it. So Wilson is going to lose this position regardless. That's a fact. Kevin Parody, he might just barely pick up P15, because if you put if you put his time, if you put Wilson's time from Thompson and then his time up, I think it's 9.9. I think Parody is just gonna barely pick up P15 by the slimmest of margins. Raworth into the corners, 18th. 19th for Dave Hasser, Brian Rasco, Sanchez, Steele, Landry, and Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That is over and done with for Octane Online Racing Season 11 of the Sprint Series. We are going to take one final look at the standings. So Skylar Loverick on top, race 1. Pearson Steele on the podium, Pro-Am. Jonathan Clifford, Eduardo Sanchez, Steve Davis, amateur class, Wicks, Parody, and Raworth. Race 2, things spicing up. Pierce, Gulzar, and Brook onto the podium, and Loverink matching the fastest lap from Pierce. Very surprising there. Pro-Am, it's Frizza, Davis, Clifford. Amateur class, Wicks taking home bragging rights ahead of Parody and Raworth. And of course, both races, safety car in a class of its own. So now what we have to do, very quickly, is we have to figure out the positions of certain drivers. So, Loverink is going to come home P2 in the standings for Pro-Am. Gulzar wins overall, and actually that reminds me, I need to do a couple of things while we get ready for something I've wanted to do. So we got to figure out the Pro-Ams between Fernandez, who comes home P9 for him. So P9 is going to be 25 points. That is 499 points for him. Where does Clifford end up? Clifford, where is he? Oh, this is race 2. Hold on. What happened to Clifford? Clifford just going to miss out. He is just going to miss out on P1. Fernandez winning for Pro-Am. And then the amateur class, well, if I'm a betting man, I'm going to say Parity won it. 13 points for Wick, or 13th is enough for 18th, but that's only a 2-point difference. So Kevin Parity is going to pick up the win for the amateur class. So what I'm going to do here, so we're gonna maybe see if we get some interviews. But what a season it's been here for the OOR Season 11. It's been incredible, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the time we have spent together with these drivers. And again, of course, we hope to see them again next season. One final reminder. The registrations for next season, not up quite yet, but they will be very soon, and we hope to see those at some point. And, well, those should be out as soon as possible. Again, we are going to be putting out the announcement when that is all finalized. Now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to maybe get Kevin Parity in here. If not, and not the voice room itself in the booth, well, I'll certainly call him. But what a race we had. That first race, very exciting, of course. A lot of action. 20 minutes. It's always chaotic with these drivers. And they are doing just that. And then race 2, very hectic start with that reverse grid, of course. Getting a lot of action early on. And then all the way pretty much up until the halfway point. That's when things started to calm down a little bit. And then right at the end, very close racing, of course, between the 5 cars here of Dag Frizza, Davis, Carpenter, Fernandez. And welcoming to the booth, ladies and gentlemen, a voice that you're all very familiar with, Kevin Parity, your amateur class championship. Kevin, congratulations on the amateur class victory.
Oh, thank you very much. I wasn't 100% sure, but that's good to hear. Thank you.
So, Kevin, I mean, let's be honest. You know, you go from the booth and then you come here onto track. Has it been a lot more exciting now that you get to focus solely on racing, or do you kind of miss that sort of back and forth that you had last season?
I wish I could do both, which just means we need way more people in NA next season, so we can go back to 2 splits and I can come in the booth with you for one of them and race in the other one. That's the ideal world.
That's fair. So, just a couple of questions for you, of course. Going into this season, has there really been any sort of weaknesses you noticed in yourself as you were preparing for the race or the races, or did you find yourself sort of in a nice state of flow?
I always aim for consistency. I know I'm not fast, so if I can be consistently almost fast, that's my goal, and I did that most of this season. I think 1 license point all year, so I'm pretty proud of that too. All in all, way better season. I won't say better than I thought, but better than I'd hoped.
Well, certainly. I mean, with the tortoise livery, of course, I'll be honest, it grew on me. It grew on me. You know, obviously, started the season, I was like, no, thank you. But I think now it's been great, and I do love it quite a lot. So. Congratulations.
Thank you. I spent a whole season to be able to do this line. Slow and steady didn't win any races, but apparently it won me the AM championship. So I'll take it.
Well, it's certainly well deserved. Do you think you're going to be back next season?
Oh yeah, already signed up.
Perfect.
Pro-Ams next year, completely different car, completely different paint job, so you can wipe this one from your mind. And we'll see you next season. I'm already looking forward to it, although with the car change, I can use the time to get practice in for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Kevin, thank you very much, of course, for everything you do here in the OR, whether it's in the booth or out on track. Again, congratulations on the amateur class championship, and hopefully you have the same sort of luck next season.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to running with those folks in the Pro-Am next year.
Absolutely.
Good night. See you next year.
Good
See
night.
you next season.
And ladies and gentlemen, really quick, we are going to give our good friend, your champion, a call. So let's see if he picks up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the not quite booth. Not only your pro champion, but your overall winner, Hamza Golzar. What is there to say about you that I haven't already said 101 times?
I mean, don't worry. I go back and watch all the streams on the way through, so not much more left.
So, Golzar, I think the big question I've had here is, what is your secret? You've been so consistent every single season, and I feel like everyone kind of needs to know, like, what are you doing that's different from every other driver on the grid?
Nothing.
Nothing, you said.
Yeah, no. I mean, I feel like for me this was the season. It's the first time that I've actually driven the 911 in any league I've raced, and I mean I've had ACC since like it basically released. So I have put off this car for so long, hated on it, just absolutely hated on it in every league, and then I finally decided, you know what? Let's see what the fuss is about, and now I see.
Yeah, you've certainly shown us what it means to be one of the best. So, looking at your competition, though, let's say that you weren't going to be here, and just take points out of the equation. Who would be the driver that you would say would be champion if you hadn't been around?
I feel like it would. Well, I think due to time constraints, he wasn't able to race with us, but I feel like the two in at least OR North America that I really focus on, actually the one that I really focus on is Vulcan Backerden.
Yep, Backerden.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to race the season that he raced, and now he's not racing the season I'm racing, but you know, like, I don't know if he looks up at my times, but I look at him and I'm like, this is tough competition.
Well, I think if he was in this season, I think it would have been down to the wire for both of you. I mean, I've seen how both of you drive every season, and it is really something. I gotta tell you, I am thoroughly impressed every single time I watch it. And well, let's be honest, when have you not impressed me this season?
I love you too, Nick.
Hey, I love that team name. I love the team. I love the livery.
Yeah. I had to do it for you.
That's fair. Final question: are you going to be back next season, or are you going to do your one season off to let Backerden win?
No, I will be back. For sure, I'll be back. Last time it was just, had a big vacation planned out and whatnot. But no, you'll see me back on the calendar. Okay. And if Backerden's back, then oh boy, it's not gonna be easy.
Well, we've got about a month or so of a break, so hopefully you use that well. Again, congratulations, of course, Golzar, for not only the pro win, but the overall winner. You won this championship. I'm not even going to calculate. Over 200 points was the gap down to Lovering. I mean, that is just ridiculous. But I'm going to let you go. Again, congratulations. Can't wait to see you again next season. And thank you for doing this interview. I really do appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Nick, and appreciate your commentary every race, man.
Oh, I do what I do because I love it. I will. I'll see you later, though, man. Enjoy your break. All right, but ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. That is it for Season 11 of the Simrigs Sprint season. Of course, a quick shout-out to them. Australia and New Zealand, they've got you covered. The Melbourne-based sim racing gear specialists. Everything you could ever want and more is available at their store. If you're an OR Patreon member, of course, you get 5% off in store. And if you're like me and you don't happen to live in an area of the world that's currently going into summer, well, send them an email and they'll give you some hot deals on some pretty hot ticket items. Simrigs, they got you covered. Thank you again for the sponsorship and hope to see you again next season. But that's it. We're done for the season. Season 11 in the books. Golzar taking it absolutely in style. No problems there. Never really stopped doing all of that he does. And well, I'm ready for next season. Honestly, I think it's gonna get a little bit hectic. Hopefully to see new faces, of course, in the scene. So we'll see what they bring to the table. But until then, the OOR offices are going to go on vacation. We have one more event sort of the year. That is the VRS Pro Series. They've got, I think, one final race for them, and that should be it. Could be wrong, but who knows. But until next time, on behalf of myself, everybody at the OOR, the drivers, the stewards, the race directors, the organizers, and of course, you guys, the viewers, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you've been enjoying your stay. But until next time, as always, stay safe, stay beautiful. Merry Christmas or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate. Happy New Year. Of course, stay safe out there. Stay warm or stay cool, depending on where you are. And we'll see you next year.